that cigarette or that addiction or that habit or whatever we want to classify these things at, this hold, was that possibly what you were thinking of today, or you going?
Yeah, no, but I like that one. I think we should dive into it because I think honestly, the power that has, so many people quit smoking. I don't, you know me, man. I don't believe in silver bullet. I'm a maybe. Maybe that'll work, you know? Um, like what's real is where the power is, right? If
Yeah,
something comes up and if it seems like it might break the work we're doing, we want to go right into it. That's how we create the breakthroughs, right? We break
yeah,
through stuff. So for me, like the whole thing, that's good. Yeah, I think this could create a ton of value for people. So maybe I'll contextualize it with a couple examples. Or actually, maybe we can do it with everybody here. Maybe we can just ask them. Um, so folks here that want to quit smoking, um, comment the word hold if you feel like cigarettes have a hold of you. Like this thing's just got control of you, it's got a hold of you. Comment those words. Looks like we've got 9 people here, I think, if I'm reading that right. Presumably some of them want to quit smoking. Is quitting chewing tobacco basically? What a good question from Foster. Is quitting chewing tobacco basically the same as quitting smoking? No and yes. Like it's different for everybody, right? Um, typically the substance is being used in a similar way to mediate some issue that's going on underneath the surface with folks. So like I've helped a ton of people quit chewing tobacco too. I should really start counting those in the tally. That would be good, Kevin. I would really
yeah.
bump that number up. But it's yeah, no, it's quite similar. When I used to work in a more protocol driven way, I ran the same system, when I was less dynamic and elegant with how I worked with things. So yeah, that's my so yes and no. Quitting smoking for 2 people can be quite different. Can be quite a different experience. So hence the like, I don't really believe in the silver bullet thing, right? But hopefully, I don't know if that's helpful, Foster. I know that's not the most practical advice. Do you have anything to add to that, Kevin, before we move on to
Yeah,
emerge?
yeah. I think looking at smoking, looking at chewing, whatever it is, if we kind of look at it as that is a symptom, that is like the end result that we're trying to do something
Like
with,
that.
that just kind of peeling back that one layer beyond that symptom and working at that level, whatever that even means for that person. Um, it can be vaping, it can be smoking, it can be chewing, it can be picking your nose. It's all very in its own way. And excuse my little whatever.
Kevin
Uh,
always has the best. I love it.
but it's once we peel back that one layer, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily some big scary bad thing that happened in the past. It doesn't mean it's um, you know that one layer back beyond that symptom is the reason why you're doing what you do for the most part. And if we kind of shine the light there, it doesn't matter what that is.
Mm,
And maybe, yes, it is nicotine. It's the same kind of plant, blah, blah, blah. It's a little bit different in how you take it in. But if your desire is to break free from the prison that you put yourself in,
there it is.
there it is.
Love it. Love
If
it.
your desire is to break free from that prison, that's where we're going to shine that light. That's where we're going to put that time and effort and that energy into right there. And the byproduct of that work is you're done with tobacco. It be cigarettes, it be vape, it be chewing tobacco, snuff, whatever it is.
That's cool. Oh, I got to point out for the longtime followers, I'm glad we didn't wear the same shirt today. Always seems to happen. No, I think that's great, man. That yeah, I actually think that came together really well. If you're going to break free of the prison, you put yourself in. We're going to shine the light there, put the awareness there. That's
Yeah.
where we do the work, right? And I've had people say when quitting dip, it's just like it's there for me. I get out of work, I do it, and it's like this sounds a lot like people that quit
Yeah.
smoking, some type of noise in their head,
Yeah.
but I would never, like you said, jump to
Yeah.
these conclusions are stupid, man. I'm not
Well,
gonna
I mean,
with those.
yeah, I mean, not to generalize at all, but I look at the last person that I worked with that quit chewing, the last person I worked with that quit smoking, and I could vividly recall both of them saying, "Well, I'm leaning on this like a crutch. I'm leaning on this is just that thing that I do to, when I'm bored, or this is the go-to thing to kind of help me with my stress." And again, everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's reasoning, everybody's behaviors, everybody's results are different. But there are some things where boy, that overlap is very similar. But I've also heard that when the last person I worked with that was eating the whole bag of chips or eating the whole sleeve of cookies after that long day of work to get through that stressful emotion. And I'm not saying that all things are rooted in the same place by any means, but you know it's often when we start peeling back that one or two layers there, we'll start to see some similarities. And it really is just getting past that symptom
Love
and
it.
getting to, everybody says, well, what is the cure for stopping cigarettes? Or, what is that tip of the day, Vinny, for quitting? And the biggest tip is let's go beyond that symptom. Let's go beyond that end result
Love it.
and let's do the work there instead.
That's brilliant, man. That's where it is.
Yep.
A merch. A merch says, as someone who is in the process of quitting, I think it's important to know that you're not just quitting smoking, but all the habits with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's you know, um, I think yeah, if you're doing this in a conventional form, hey, I'm going to do this with cold turkey willpower. That's the case, right? Your mind has to kind of you're like I kind of think it like about almost like a direction of causality. Like, and I hate to use like metaphors like conscious and unconscious, but like you've got these feelings, like the problem, we've got the symptom, the smoking. So now I'm going to try to go from the symptom to the problem, right? I'm going to work this
Yeah.
way. Whereas what we do is we just go, hey, let's go the other way with it. Let's go into the actual problem, get rid of it, and the symptom goes away.
Yeah.
So weirdly enough, I do sometimes folks will say after I work with them, like, my hands felt funny here.
Mhm.
Like I thought about cigarettes, but it was more about how I didn't want to smoke, a bunch of times that day.
Yeah.
So I think in the normal conditions, yeah, it is all about. There's a lot of this, right? And there's a lot of things that accompany that habit. Um, but when we work at a root cause level, it's just quicker, right? It's just quicker,
Yeah.
faster, more
Yeah.
efficient. So but that's great though. I think, that's a really good point though. Merch. I think that's a good thing to be aware of. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on the A merch, I'm very curious, and I want you to think about this beyond the cigarette. What are the things as you're quitting these other things, as you're kind of walking away, changing, however you want to look at that, all these other things? What is that worth to you? And I don't mean the money aspect, but to be able to get that freedom of your hands, to be free of that smell, to be free of that worry, all these other things. We have it, right? We have this habit of worrying about, oh, when is the next one going to be the one? When is this next drag going to put me over the edge into cancer, emphysema, whatever the case is? So we end up having these additional things that kind of come along with or trailed behind that cigarette and quitting. And I'm curious, what excites you the most about being free? Beyond having to buy the cigarettes and having to go outside, but all the other things that you're able to walk away from. What are these other things that you're really excited about? Being free from tobacco, being free from nicotine, being free from that habit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to give just a moment of silence there to let that kind of sit. It's good. Um, I think Foster did agree that I do feel it has a hold on
Yeah.
me. And here we go, Kevin. Look at this. I planned my life around
Mm.
it. Yep, 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 yep. You're planning your life around something that has a hold on you. Who else feels that way? Who agrees with Foster? I don't want to skip over these comments. Maybe I can kind of touch on them thematically, but who else agrees with Foster here? I feel like it has a hold on me and I plan my life around it. Comment the word hold below. I want to make sure we're all in agreement here. It's definitely different for me and my husband. I have an easier time quitting when I'm not around. Oh, not around him. Okay, I think that's what you mean there. Got it. Phyllis Walker followed the host. Hey, appreciate the follow. Follow Kevin, guys. Make sure you follow Breaking Habit. Kevin.
No, follow Vinny, guys. Follow him.
Yeah.
Follow Stop Smoking Specialist.
The mindset, it's hard, but you can do it. Yes. A mindset. Is it a mindset? I think I don't want to get too into argue semantics. I think I hadn't really thought about that until now. It just kind of hit me differently. It's a mindset. It's a shift in the mind. It's a way to set up your mind, right, Kevin?
Well, yeah, but I want to challenge that just for fun, just because it's Wednesday. Why not? And this is obviously nothing personal. If it's a mindset, is it hard? Well, by saying it's hard, that is the mindset, right? So I'm just going to challenge this out there, just for you, Susie912. If it is mindset, what if it's about setting that mind to it can be easy?
Yeah.
It can be easy.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
If the mindset says it's hard, then if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. Not to sound like an old Henry Ford, commercial or anything, but that thinking mindset, if you want to call it that, which is just words, it's just semantics here. But if the mindset is saying that it's hard, then maybe you're right. But if that mindset is maybe it can be easy, and I want to emphasize the word can, that opens up a world of possibilities, of opportunity, right? The word can. It can be easy.
Yeah. Do you think getting to quit can be easy? What? Oh gosh, it was so fun. Yeah. We got too many inside things going on here. It's good.
Well, I think pretty soon everybody's going to kind of get on to all these things, and they're going to beat us to the punch.
Yeah. Oh gosh, they call me. I'm on day 3 of choosing to not smoke, not a lot. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Way to go. They call me Mama Crystal. That's fantastic. That's a big deal. And beekeeping girls, and happy for you there. So is Susie. Yep. Thank you. I hope to continue to smoke. I do. Hold. Here we go. Great job. Yeah. Okay. Let's play with this since it's coming up. I love it. Man, I wish I could make the comments big while having I keep saying we're going to get on a Zoom and kill it. And I think my wife's back from business middle of February. I think we got to launch shortly after that, Kevin. That'll be really fun if you're still into it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's pick up on this about hold. So it has a hold on you. So let me ask you this. And I know it's kind of tough, but your participation is what's really going to drive this. How specifically do cigarettes have a hold of you? Or a dip if that's what you want to get rid of. Whatever it is that you want to get rid of. How specifically does it have a hold of you? Just comment the best you can trying to describe it. How specifically does it have a hold of you? It'll be fun. The great experiment. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so I think there was some really good comments here too, Kevin, while that's happening. Day 3 of choosing not to smoke, a lot of withdrawal. Okay, we went through that one.
Jasmine says the hardest part are the non-smokers. And I'm very curious what makes them the hardest part for you. What makes the non-smokers the hardest part for you, Jasmine?
I'm going to write that on my husband's bathroom window. It can be easy. Yeah.
I like that. Look at that for mindset.
Yeah. I got the flu. Oh, here we go. Leela, I think is that right? Leela? Am I saying that right? Um, Lila, maybe. I got the flu, didn't smoke, but a couple over 3 days, felt so much better, started back. I got the flu, didn't smoke, but a couple over 3 days, felt so much better, started back. Why? I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you asking us why you started back? Is that what you're trying to ask? Can you just clarify that? I think there's something there, but I'm not quite sure I fully understand that. The mind is such a powerful thing. You can make it easy. Look at that.
It's
The hard,
happening.
the hardest part are the non-smokers. That's all your mind thinks about throughout the day. Yeah, Jasmine, that's an interesting situation. That's kind of what you were going to, right, Kevin? This is the
Yep.
one.
Yep.
It calms down when you're. Ooh, Birdie. It calms you down when you're mad, sad, nervous. It makes me feel sick and anxious if I don't, so it keeps a hold of me.
Mm.
I'll stay up longer to get one more in before bed. It's the one thing I don't have to share with anybody because I'm trying so hard. I do well sometimes and not a lot. They don't. So that's doesn't have a hold on you. You're holding on to it. It's all a choice when you're ready. What a powerful statement.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got a lot of different things going on all at once here, Kevin. Which one should we address first?
Well, I'm very curious. Darlene from Dallas says, I don't know how to not smoke. That one's kind of stood out for me here, just looking at this real quickly. Um, I don't know how to not smoke. That could go in a lot of different directions. I'm very curious. So, when you say, Darlene from Dallas, I don't know how to not smoke, between your cigarettes, I'm just very curious. What are you doing between your cigarettes, if that's the case? And I'll let you kind of just sit in that for just a moment or two. So, in between your cigarettes, when you're not smoking, tell me about that.
That's good.
That
Working. Yeah. Tapping working, looks like.
that one, it calms you down when you're mad, sad, or nervous. That's got my attention too, Vinny.
Yeah. We got a good live today. Got good participation. I love it. Um, yeah, Birdie Armin. It calms you down when you're mad, sad, and nervous. Of course, we could point out like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that direction. Yeah, let's play with it. Let's see what happens. So, Birdie, it calms you down when you're mad, when you're sad, when you're nervous. If you were to go to a doctor or anybody with a lot of authority in your life, someone that you really value their opinion, and you said, "What should I do when I'm mad, sad, or nervous? How can I calm myself down?" You know, I don't think I don't think they would recommend a cigarette. And there's a lot of people on the planet that have all those emotions that don't smoke. So what does that suggest to you? I agree with you. I know you smoke that cigarette and you calm down. I know you do that. There's so many other people with their feet on this same planet as you, feeling those emotions, not smoking, calming down. How does it feel when you think about that? That is available to you. Walking this earth, same time as you, feet on the ground. feeling calm. What do we got here? Starting to trance out, Kevin. Oh man, let's see. So I do feel like they make me foster less anxiety, but honestly, I don't think it works. Listen to Foster over here. I feel like I do it to make me feel less anxious, but honestly, I don't think it works. They don't even need us. You just it's pretty good. It's like I just figured it out. Um,
I like to believe it is all about the quality of the questions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just that it's just
So
going inward. That mind
I,
makes new
I
resources.
definitely have like two things that kind of pop up, and they may have seemed a little familiar here, but why not? So if we feel that using tobacco, whatever form, calms us down, wouldn't smokers, chewers, vapors be the most calm, zen people on the planet? And then secondly, do you also use tobacco when you're happy and joyous and excited and feeling calm and peaceful and neutral? Do you smoke then too? Because if you do, and it's what you do when you're happy and it's what you do when you're sad, it's what you do when you're excited and what you do when you're anxious. How can it help both situations at the same time? I'm a little perplexed of how it could help in both of those situations, both happy and sad, both anxious and excited, worried and calm. They're very paradoxical. I mean, how could that thing be useful in both of those situations? Just a little food for thought.
I do agree that you do feel that way. You do feel calmer. You do feel better. But I wonder what's going on there.
Look at what Foster's got going on. Use it in any situation, so it seems like a random habit. Random? Is it random or is it planned?
Look at that.
Yeah.
And Darlene, that feeling of control, that hold it has on you.
Hmm.
How could it have a hold on you if you're going to justify it?
Yeah.
We got an UG. We got an UG. There it is. Sit with that UG for a moment.
Darlene from Dallas, what do you enjoy most about smoking? What is it that you enjoy most about smoking? What is it about that thing that you do that you enjoy so much? Inhaling. Inhaling the smoke, or just inhaling in general. Look at Foster with all these.
Definitely planned because I make sure I have tobacco with me at all times. Yeah. So Foster, let me ask you, what's it like to what do you notice now when you think about smoking having a hold on you? And it could be good or bad, it doesn't matter, right? But what do you notice differently now about smoking having a hold on you when you realize that you're planning it? It's always interesting, Kevin, because I get a mixture of things when I ask this question. I don't want to prime anything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just bite my tongue. But it's always fascinating. Everything works, by the way, guys. Doesn't matter what you feel. You don't have to feel a certain way.
Darlene's got some really cool things here. So I'm very curious with the inhaling and the smoke and how it feels. So I'm going to throw this analogy out here, and they're starkly different, but I just want to see if we could kind of pull these together. And maybe this isn't even accurate for you, but I'm just going to generalize. Take somebody who uses heroin on a regular basis, and they stick that needle in. After a while, often they will say they enjoy the feeling of the needle, of that thing breaking through the skin. And really, what's going on there? Do they like the feeling of that needle going in, piercing that skin, piercing that vein? Probably not. But what they do like, the thing that they really enjoy, is the thing that comes next. The relief left over from the last fix that they got. That was the biggest thing. For many smokers, not everyone. I kind of fell into this category, I think. The ritual, the pulling out that cigarette, the lighting it, the smell, the taste, all these things, that all those things that preceded the relief left over from that last cigarette. So I'm really curious, Darlene from Dallas. Is it the feeling of that going down your throat, the inhaling, that's really the thing that's keeping you stuck? Or are all those things just the little bits and pieces that you got to go through to get that relief from that last cigarette? Is it the smell? Is it the taste? I mean, if you could have something that tastes like a cigarette, if you could have something that you inhaled that was similar to a cigarette, but that wasn't a cigarette, would you still do it? Ask yourself that question. Would you still do it?
Mm-hmm. It's always I'll quit soon.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a part of my life and I can't get away from it. You can't get away from the thing you plan doing. How does that work, Foster? Can't get away from the thing you plan doing.
And I want to thank everybody for chiming in. I got some really awesome comments here. A lot
Yeah.
of good information.
Best life. This is good. But it's just, yeah, yeah. It is this. I'm lucky. I got a cool community of people.
Yeah.
Um,
That's powerful. I mean, it's one of the biggest things that seems to be prevalent, even though we have so many ways of connecting and communicating, is often people feel a little disconnected, or often feel alone, especially when it comes to something like this, something where in time it's become a little bit um, less popular. Something happened here. I think we lost Vinny. I don't know if the whole thing got paused or if we just lost Vinny.
okay, am I back?
You're back.
Dear God. Okay. Ooh, I don't want to have tech issues again.
There you go.
I like the idea that I can plan to get away from it. I like the idea that I can plan to get away from it. What do you like about that idea the most, Foster?
I totally lost where I was.
Sorry.
I
Yeah,
was
it
saying
just appeared
something,
from
like, I look up, I'm like, oh my God, Vinny's gone. What the heck?
a.
And I got
No, you were talking about support.
a goldfish too. So it's
Support
like,
and I think what that provides for people or something along those lines. Something about support. Does that
oh,
sound right?
the feeling of connection.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
something like this where we could all kind of get on here together, and you're not alone.
Right.
This isn't really a support channel. This isn't really a support place. We're not going to say, hey, you got it, champ. It's a little bit more than that. It's more of an empowerment type scenario, at least in my opinion. And so, yeah, you guys do have a good community here. You guys have some good friends in your corner that are here, um, helping you get to the end of this, putting this thing in the rear view mirror.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't like if I use the word support personally, it's because it's just a common sense notion.
Yeah,
I do like the idea of freedom, but then it's like I have this like belief that a leader's job is to create other leaders. So the idea is like if we give someone an opportunity, it could be cool if they could provide more to others.
yeah.
They've done it, they ran the race, but that's a very technical skill set, I think, in a lot of cases. Um, so yeah, I agree with you, man. I just that we're doing something a little bit different than support, I guess. You know, just looking at outcomes. You know, it's like those groups sometimes don't always provide what people they can't. They're not doing this right, this deep like fosters
Yeah.
habit of
I mean,
follow right here.
support's good when somebody gets down into the mud puddle with you, and they
That's
get to
good.
feel the mud and sit there in that mud with you. That's hey, we're in this mud together. And that, to a certain degree, is useful. But when somebody can say, you know what, here's a way to get out of the mud. Here's a way to strongly, not that anybody's going to lift you up, but to show you that your strength within is to get out of your own mud. That's even more powerful. Because when you look back and say, you know what, I got myself out of that mud. I did it. I took these ideas, these concepts. I looked inward and I pulled myself up. Boy, that's powerful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's so true because it's like then you did it right. It's not some gimmick.
Yeah.
You did all that work.
Beekeeping Girl says, you guys are my sole support, really. Trying to do the best I can with what's available to me. You know what, Beekeeping Girl? I bet you're stronger than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah,
And I love seeing you popping on here. And I know you're getting closer and closer and closer. And maybe you're a day away, maybe you're a minute away. I'm not sure exactly how far away you are. Maybe you've already tipped that scale. Maybe you are ready to pop out the other side. I don't know. But when is right now a good time? When is right now a good time?
that's such. Every time I don't try. Let's see if Foster gave us free from it. I will feel better. Extremely anxious person. I like the idea of planning to do it because I know once I'm free from it, I will feel better. Yeah. When I try to stop smoking in the nighttime comes, I feel like I've earned one. When I try to stop smoking in the nighttime comes, I feel like, ah, you feel like you earned one. Okay.
Mm.
Oh, is that because it's like a reward? Is that what you mean, Darlene?
That's my impression of it. Yeah. Yeah. I think that maybe that's, and it's often, I mean, have you seen this a lot too, Vinny, where somebody says, well, it's my last vice. It's the last thing. It's, I gave up everything else. Or, this is my, in some language, this is my reward system. This is
Right.
this is the thing. Well, we always hear the people like, I made it through the workday, so I get to have my glass or bottle or case of wine, whatever it is, for that person. We have these reward systems. And, honestly, for what it's worth, a lot of our lives, not everybody, but a lot of our lives seem to have been built on rewards.
Right.
We do good in school, we get our little sticker, we get our, do good in a ball game, you go out for pizza, for ice cream. You're 1 year older, you get your birthday cake. There's this kind of reward piece that seems to always be there. But when we become an adult and we have the time, the money, the resources, or whatever, and we don't see the rewards coming from, other places, we reward ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with rewarding ourselves, but sometimes the things that we reward ourselves with end up being the things that cause us the most amount of pain.
Wow.
And I'm curious, what would be a better way? And this is more of just kind of digging for a resource within. Out of all the things that you could do, or would like to do, or wish to do, what would be a thing that you can look at and say, you know what? This is rewarding. And maybe it's something small that you do more often, or maybe it's something you do that's big that you don't do as much. But do you feel that there's something that you'd rather do to reward yourself? Something that's a little bit more sustainable, something that's doesn't have shame or guilt tied in with it. Something that is a true reward for you. Let that just kind of marinate for a little while. Let that just kind of sit and settle, drift and drain all the way through who you are. And I'm curious, what is that thing? And maybe you have that answer, maybe you don't. Maybe it's something to just kind of rest on, to just let settle for a while. But I wonder, what would you rather do to reward yourself when nighttime comes?
Good. I don't want to, I feel like talking too soon. I think I'm going to step on the moment. Look
I
at
don't
it.
know if you've ever seen, they have those little, I forgot what it's called, like Elgato makes them. And they're, you could take all these keys and switches and you could kind of nominate each key or switch to have a certain sound effect or, a certain thing. And at that moment, I wasn't sure if there was supposed to be crickets sounding in the background or if it was supposed to be like soft meditative music. I wasn't sure.
I love it. Yeah, yeah, I think in this case, Pineapple Princess 28, she says, smoking is my quiet time when I get to. It's my peace in not being needed. It's my mental break. Pineapple Princess. So that's kind of like her reward too, right? In some
Yeah.
ways. I'm just curious though, Pineapple Princess, is your mental break not being needed and having some quiet time and some peace? Is that your mental break?
Hmm.
Or is it the smoking?
If you could have all of that without the cigarette, would you do it? If you could have that quiet time and that peace, to not be feeling needed to take that mental break, If you could have all of that without lighting the cigarette, would you do it? A little provocative question for you. Pineapple Princess has a good response to that one, Vinny.
Yes. The quiet, like I said, it's the one thing I don't have to share as well. The quiet, that is. What's it like to realize the quiet's really the break?
Mm-hmm. Foster says, I love the idea of not having shame be part of the reward.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask ourselves. Is having shame, experiencing shame, whatever that means, rewarding?
And I know that sometimes these questions, they seem like they can feel a bit pedantic, but like I do this to myself all the time. I'm like, what am I thinking right now? Like, this is clearly not good for me. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And it's once I can get aware of it, my brain can go, hey, man, here's a different choice.
Yeah.
You want to do that one? How about this one? I think it's just so important. I love this guy. I think, is it rewarding? All that shame, the money you spend, the guilt, the hurt, having to look at these two weirdos on a live,
Yeah.
ask you funny questions, you know? It's just all that.
Speaking of weirdos, you know what my favorite A word is?
Yeah, what's that?
Awareness. You just said that. I love that. You know what? That is, you know, we look at the word habit, we look at the word addiction, whatever, however you want to classify these things. So often, not always, but so often, this thing that we do, going to that cigarette, that chew, that vape, that whatever, it seems so automatic. It seems so robotic. It seems so autopilot. But when we bring this forward, and I'm guessing that most of the folks on here today, talking to us, um, are now getting a little bit more awareness, and I could tell mostly by the way
Yeah,
everybody's answering and the questions that they ask.
incredible.
Bringing this to the forefront, seeing it from a different perspective, and that's what a lot of awareness is being able to see it, but then being able to see it from a slightly different perspective. Being able to see it, wow, I never known that, I never thought, never felt that maybe that shame was there. That thing that always kind of was lingering in that background. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Who knows? Maybe. But to
Yeah.
wonder, I wonder what it would be like to be free of this shame. Is that freedom of that shame worth putting that cigarette, that chew, that whatever down? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe.
I think
Foster
pineapple.
says, Foster says the weirdos may be the hardest part.
I
I'd say,
guarantee it is.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I try, but I'm just a busy person, and I feel like even when I have quiet time, I have to be busy.
Hmm.
I mean, Kevin, did we find something here? I mean, if this problem doesn't go away, what are the chances? Pineapple Princess is smoke free permanently.
Yeah,
Because, of course, all that mental break you were talking about before, the whole time you're feeling like you have to be busy.
yeah. Hmm.
You're just being distracted
Yeah.
by a cigarette.
Give or take 7 minutes per cigarette, right? For the time you go out there and everything else, average 7 minutes. So you do that 20 times a day. That's 140 minutes. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes for someone who's busy. and always on the move and likes to be on the move, I wonder how much of a distraction, how much of a time suck of not only utilizing that cigarette, not only going out there and using that cigarette, but the time leading up to it. So distracted from the things that you're trying to do, that busyness, having to also deal with the having to deal with the stress left over from that last cigarette.
Yeah. Pineapple Princess, how do you think things would be different if you could just really truly enjoy that quiet time without any distraction? What would that even look like for you? I'm sure
Yeah.
my anxiety would be less.
Yeah.
All that, it'd be like having a real break.
Mm.
Can a cigarette really help you have a break? It can give you an excuse, step away. But if you're still feeling anxiety with the cigarette, I just really wonder if it's helping you. Yeah. Yep. Keeps people away. Oof. I don't know. I don't know if I want to run down that one. That's good. I appreciate you being so honest here.
It's funny. Nicotine within a tobacco plant is
Okay.
the plant's natural defense mechanism to keep pests away. It's and we as humans, we actually extract that and use it as an insecticide to keep other pests off from other plants. It is by definition a natural deterrent, and it's interesting that you're using it, to keep people away. You're keeping your pest away, right?
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like that would be exhausting too. Having to think about keeping people away. Only being able to relax when they're not around.
Mm-hmm.
Because the unconscious mind's awfully simple, isn't it? Because I need a break. Even if it's not going to help me at the level like I really could get with a different mechanism, this is familiar. I know how to do this. Smoke comes out, people go away.
Yeah. But working in public service and having raised 7 kids, that quiet time is very important, isn't it? It's very valuable to you. That quiet time is like a commodity, right? But what's more important to you, that quiet time or having that cigarette? What is the thing that you really want out of those two, or is it something else?
I can tell you people tell me they smoke because they feel alone.
Yeah.
Flipping a switch. Flipping that switch. Once you find that switch, all you got to do is flip it. How would your life be different? Are you sure you're ready for that? Crutch for so many years. Because, of course, you'll find new coping mechanisms once you get rid of the old ones. Oh, look at this. That's a beautiful thing here. I get that. But on the flip side, I'm excited. I could sit with all my non-smoking friends.
You could even sit with your smoking friends too, if you wanted to. The thing is, you'll have that choice. Having choice is freedom, right? And that's, when we have the feeling like something is, has a hold on us, and we have to keep on doing that one thing, it feels like we don't have choice. And not having choice is not having freedom.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to be able to have the choice to comfortably, confidently, peacefully just sit with any friend you want? Smoker, non-smoker, doesn't matter.
Taking notes over here, Kevin. I know I want it. I know it's time. Ooh. I want to. Breaking the habit has been difficult. How do you know it's time if it's so difficult to break it?
I have a question for Frazzled Erp. I love these names. This is so cool.
I know.
When I try to quit, I think I will fail and self-sabotage. How do you get out of that mindset? So I'm very curious. My question back to Frazzled Erp would be, what is it about self-sabotage? What is it that you feel is happening with that self-sabotage? What do you think that you may be doing for yourself? And let's frame that in a positive, by sabotaging. I'm very curious. That answer may, I'm not sure, maybe, it may help in the second part of your question. May. What is that self-sabotage doing for you?
Wow. Try to force myself to take breaks with others who don't smoke to avoid the smoke breaks. I'm not sure I understand. How does that let you know it's time? Is it just something you want to do?
And Frazzled Earp, yeah, so Frazzled Earp responded by saying avoiding something, I think, but I'm not sure what exactly. And that's okay. Who knows right now, right? So if it is something that you are avoiding, maybe, possibly, who knows? I'm very curious what would be different if no longer you had to avoid it. What if instead of turning from it, you turn towards it? I'm just curious. We're just kind of speculating here. And instead of having to constantly avoid, instead of constantly having to go away from it, you went towards it. And by going towards it, no longer would you have to spend so much time, so much energy, so many cigarettes trying to avoid. I'm just curious. So the second part of that question about that mindset, if the mindset was always trying to avoid, the antithesis, the antidote per se, could be, it could be doing the opposite of that, going towards. We spend a lot of time trying to avoid pain. Understandably so. It's what we're kind of conditioned in a way to do, right? But what if going towards it, through it, popping out on the other side gives us that freedom that we've been so yearning for? I hear you, Pineapple Princess 28. Funny story. I When I was down in Texas, I trained for the Houston Marathon, and I was a smoker at the time too. And I get to the end. It was funny. I'd get to the end of my training, and I would just, it was all about lighting up that cigarette. Boy, it was. And I think, how much better things could have been. Of course, I was 20, 21 at the time, 19 or 20 at the time when I was doing that. I wonder how much better I could have done. But beyond the actual physical thing, it was more the mental piece too. I look back at it and say, you know what? How much more peace could I have had? But at this point, going backwards in time, it doesn't make a bit of difference. And maybe you're running, maybe you're PT, maybe um, maybe these things are important to you. But what's more important than that? Is it your break? Is it that time alone? Is it that deterring other people? I mean, what's more important to you? What's the most important thing for you? Can you move forward? Can you um, have the kind of life you want without replacing it? You said, a healthy replacement. Is it important to you to replace it? Or would you be okay with that just not being something you do anymore? Does it have to be replaced with something? Mm. Frazzled herb. Fanny, look at that. Look at that question. Let's get deep. Sounds odd, but afraid to taste freedom.
The free doom.
Yeah.
I'm tired
What
of smoking. Can't replace. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
what a good statement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a good chunky statement that is. And I'm very curious, just so I don't make a false assumption. Frazzledorp is afraid to taste freedom a statement? Are you telling me that, or telling us, I should say, or is that a question? Like you're wondering if that's something you're afraid of tasting that freedom? I'm very curious because I'm a little confused, which doesn't take much.
Pineapple Princess, I have an important question to ask you. Ah, really wish this were a private session. You think of a different way to put it. What is it you're running from? And what's the most important thing you're running towards?
And as Pineapple Princess's mind is going that way, frazzled herb, you improve that one thing. You have
Yeah.
to keep going. You have to keep improving, and that's hard. Well, I'm very curious. Say you improve that one thing. You don't have to have a lot of pressure on yourself. I mean, to continue to be a non-smoker just means that you continuously don't pick up that cigarette. That's what that means. And maybe you can improve, right? I mean, maybe you can. Maybe if you wanted to improve, if you want to look at other facets of your life, if you want to continue on that path of positive continuous improvement, you can, but you don't have to. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to have that pressure there. You don't have to put that undue pressure there. You can stay status quo. You could stay where you're comfortable. You don't have to improve everything. You can if it serves you. If you feel that drinking better fluids will make you feel better, if you feel that eating better foods will make you feel more comfortable, if you feel that putting more effort in certain areas mean better outcomes, you certainly may. And they don't have to be hard. They could be if we do them hard.
If we do them hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Pineapple Princess something here. She says, I feel like I always have to prove myself
Hmm.
in response to where you're running from or towards. And I'm just curious, that's not really something you could ever run from or run far enough towards. Actually, people always ask, when are you going to quit? You're running not to be overall healthy. What happens when you just think of, well, let me circle back before we do that. I feel like you always need to prove yourself. What does that feeling have to teach you about feeling like you need to be busy all the time? There's too many thoughts all at once in my head. This is fun.
No, I like that one, Vinny. That's a good one because that's I look at that as like a crowbar question that has some leverage to it.
Yeah. Was any of that worth it? All that work, Pineapple Princess? Just really consider all that hard work, all that doubt, still working hard. Is it really worth it? You know you can do those hard things. People doubt you even though they know you can accomplish things. Who doubts you the most?
Who do you really need to prove yourself to?
That's good. That's Here we go. This is the one thing people don't think I could do or accomplish. Are you going to prove them right? Yeah. And I think you probably felt that in other times in your life. But there's that hard work. Oh, there's one more. That's going to be really quick. What's it like just to acknowledge that those doubts exist for you? What do you feel? Of course, knowing that you've accomplished so many things despite that. If we were in a session I would love right now, what's happening now? That would be so fun to watch.
Where do you notice it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely have felt it. This is a very personal choice and why I think it's the hardest thing for me.
Mm.
Yeah. What happens if you just let go of all that? Trying to prove yourself to people, to yourself? What happens when you think about doing that? This is a beautiful statement here, Kevin.
Mm.
Ah, yeah. We still got there anyway. I didn't know if I wanted to go down this route. Thought
Yeah.
maybe we could kind of get around. I mean, if you're happy to continue Pineapple Princess, we could talk a little bit more. I just get the sense that there's something very juicy here.
Pineapple juicy?
Pineapple juicy. Yeah. Yeah.
Gumball Head Kazoo joined.
What's up, Eric?
Good morning, Eric.
Well, yeah. You know, I think that's an interesting thing. People say it's like losing a friend, like losing a part of myself. But, you know, a lot of times the ironic thing about identity, I don't quite understand it. It just seems to be the case that we find out more about ourselves as we lose those things. I mean, what could you really know about yourself having never lost anything? Because all those parts, were they ever really you if you can lose them? How does one lose part of themselves? Oh, I left me in the laundry room. Oh, I left part of me at the trash. I took it out.
And I'm very curious, who are you that's not that part? Who is all of you that's not that part of you that you feel like you're losing? And when's the last time you talked to her? Yeah, you've done and survived and accomplished so much. You have. But cigarettes have nothing to do with those accomplishments. Cigarettes have nothing to do with that surviving. Cigarettes have nothing to do with all those things that you've done. You're the one that survived. You're the one that accomplished. You're the one that did all that you have done. And yeah, the cigarette may have been there, but the cigarette didn't help you. The cigarette didn't fix or cure or aid any of those things. And surely it does not deserve any credit for all the things that you have done, all the things that you have survived, all the things that you have accomplished. It's just that thing running in the background, that thing that gets in your way. Now, maybe it's been the thing that's never left and it's always been there, but not because it has a hold on you, but maybe because you have a hold on it.
It never left. Smoking never left. The one thing that never left. I think that's an interesting statement. Do you mean that you never left it? Or do you mean something else? The cigarette's not going to grow legs. But you can do these things for you. You never left it. What's it like when you think about making that choice and doing something for yourself? Because you've been choosing all along to do this for you.
Look at that. Look at that response.
Yeah.
Dynamite. Yeah, absolute dynamite.
In the session, we could have did this really quickly. I don't want to be polite because it's like, you ask certain questions in a public forum. I don't know if you could sense that or not, Pineapple Princess, but there's a certain distance I want to maintain in this environment, I guess, is all.
And Eric out there, Mr. Gumball Head Kazoo. I've seen a couple of your videos lately. Keep them coming, dude. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
You're growing.
And it just takes one, and you'll have, yeah. But TikTok, I think if I post 100 videos, all the growth comes off like 2. So ridiculous. Yeah. There it is. That's awesome. Doing me is hard and difficult. Always help others, usually, and not usually myself. Yeah.
That's juicy.
Yeah. I just.
Looking back at all the other things that she had said, that's a very juicy. That's good. That's really good insight.
I mean, this is a good place to sit with it, but my skin's itching. I'm getting that itchy feeling. I should probably just ask anyway. Maybe it's something more you can just kind of consider, like. Hmm. Yeah, okay, maybe we'll open it up a little bit more. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And the good news, Pineapple Princess, is that it is. We just haven't quite got to it yet. And this is why I say when we flip the switch, really just a choice, people's whole lives change. Does that make a little bit more sense now? Understanding all this about yourself. Not their whole lives change, like now they have a helicopter. But the way they look at instances they used to experience one way, they're different now. New choice. Yeah. Yeah, of course. That's what we all think. I was right there with you, Pineapple Princess. Yeah. Especially when I thought I was very much in tune and aware of myself. Yeah. But there's always more to discover. And it's all about that marathon, not the destination. You've been running a marathon all this time without even knowing it. And the exciting thing is, as you know more about it, you become more aware of the marathon other people are running. Because I know you really like helping people. How could you ever really truly do that until you've done this work, helped yourself fully? Still got that itchy feeling. I don't want to. I don't want to go there. Um, when you think about doing something for yourself, Pineapple Princess, what happens? Instead of doing stuff for others. Oof. There we go. Guilt and full-blown anxiety attack. Shame. Yeah. Powerful. Yeah, this is what I was a little bit apprehensive to jump into. I was like, but I think since we're there, right? And here we go. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't deserve it. One question you might want to ask yourself is, what do you feel you deserve? How horrible of a monster do you have to be? Feel you deserve all that guilt, shame, anxiety? Are you really that bad? This is the real prison, right, Kevin?
Yeah. That is the real prison. That is the actual lock keeping the door to the prison shut.
Yeah.
Out of all the
Life.
things that she survived, right? Out of all the accomplishments. Her
This
job,
is an
her family.
interesting. Oh yeah, sorry, Kevin.
No, I was going to say with all the things that she's done.
That's psychology. In reality, you deserve everything you work for. Change the mindset, change your. And it says life. Oh yeah, got it. That's Gumball. Yeah. I know I do, but it's difficult to allow myself that time. It makes me feel self.
Mm.
100% successful university. Yeah. I've met so many people that give their last dollar to charity. And they struggle and they suffer. They don't really even enjoy it. They give money they don't even have. And they don't show up in their life how they want to. Worried about bills. They don't apply for the promotion. They just don't feel like they deserve it. Sometimes their giving is a hollow pretense. But sooner or later, they look in the mirror and they just decide to do it differently. How would your ability to show up for others, give, support people, how would all that change once you finally allow yourself the break you need to experience the positive things you deserve? How would that change for you? How would that change for the people you care about that you're taking care of? What would really happen? All that anxiety, guilt, shame. How would life be different? Yeah. Yes, you have done it. You've done it. Done all of it. Yeah. Feel better to give more. I know, because when I allow myself that, I've seen it. What's the most anxious part about that? Feeling better and being able to give more, knowing that you've seen it before. And beekeeping, girl, that guilt. You feel guilty about learning how to do this, taking care of yourself. First, I mean, just so that you can experience all that positive stuff. I don't remember what question I asked. Uh-oh. So I always have to put myself last and been okay with it. Let me go back to her last statement. I don't know that context, Pineapple Princess. I'm sorry. I know that's an answer to something.
You know, Vinny, it kind of reminds me of a story of the heart.
Oh, yeah.
Our heart is they call it a selfish organ, right? It hangs on to all that nutrient dense, oxygen rich blood for itself. Boy, what a selfish organ. Hang on to all that blood, taking care of itself first. By doing so, though, it feeds the brain, it feeds the pancreas, the liver, it feeds the lungs, it feeds the spleen, the appendix, it feeds our big toe. That heart doing its part to take care of itself first can be so much for the rest of the organs of the body. That heart having to hang on to that nutrient dense, that oxygen rich blood can do everything for that body. And they say that heart is even more important than the brain. I wonder what would be different. What would be easier? What would be more comfortable for you than to take that nutrient dense blood for yourself? By taking that time, the energy, that effort, whatever you want to call it, to care for yourself first, I wonder what it would be like to be there for everyone else, having taken care of yourself first. Beekeeping girl, as you may have said a little while ago, I was taught to not take care of myself first. I mean, that's what good leaders. I mean, I've seen the word leader kind of show up here a little while ago. I mean, leaders, as a parent, as a whatever position you are at work, whatever. The two most popular words, most important words as a leader are "follow me." Good leader to be a parent or otherwise having to take care of themselves first, to be there for everyone else, to be able to show up healthy and on time. they get the byproduct of you showing up for yourself first. Everybody else gets that byproduct. They get that healthier, happier, more at peace version of you. They get that. They don't have to worry about you anymore if you walk away from tobacco. They don't have to worry. Is that next cigarette going to be the thing that, puts mom in that unhealthy state or puts her in the hospital or worse? But you get to breathe easier, right?
Yeah, I do wonder how it affects showing up for others with all this internal conflict. Yeah. Hey, what happens when you guys think about quitting smoking now? Wow, that's beautiful. Now with nobody to put first, not sure what to do. That seems not so scary.
Yeah. It's in me to not buy that next pack.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Has it, beekeeping girl, has it always been in you to not buy that next pack? Even if you didn't know it was there? Yeah, that's beautiful. Stop using my husband as a crutch. He's been smoking for 50 years. That's the trick. I think, yes, it is. Pineapple Princess reprioritizing things. Yeah.
Yeah. P.S. Pedersen, stop using my husband as a crutch. Yeah, you don't need to wait for someone else to quit. You don't have to, wait for them to do anything. If this is your personal journey. This is your personal prison, and this is your personal escape from that prison. It has nothing to do with your husband or anybody else in the world. It's all to do with you. It doesn't have to be a reason to smoke or your reason to quit.
Yeah. Is this the weirdest live you guys have been on?
Is it weird that we're not wearing the same shirt today?
Yeah, I think that's the weirdest thing about it. Yeah, not being completely alone is not easy. But if you weren't smoking, I don't know for sure. Do you think there's any way not smoking would help you with no longer being completely alone? Hmm. Yeah. And there we go. And yeah, it's a good one. There's a lot there. You might ask yourself what it is you're really trying to avoid from people, that is. Yeah, all those resources. Right.
Hmm.
And when you dig into it, it just comes right up to the surface. Yeah. Be keeping good feelings. I already know. Um, and let's circle back to one other thing. Pineapple Princess, you mentioned when you thought about taking care of yourself first, you felt a lot of anxiety about that. I think you said filled with anxiety or panic. And beekeeping girl, I think you mentioned guilt. What happens now when you think about taking care of yourself? I should just say, what do you notice? What happens now? Trying to, wedge. Fine, you could do, I just, if there's, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, Kevin. That's a bit technical. But I just don't. We really want to say, what do you notice about it? In case there's
Yeah.
something kind of gobbly, I want to know what that is. I'm just not sure how. A little confused. Well, look at that. Yeah, my mental health is something I always have had to be on top of. What's really cool about Pineapple Princess, Kevin, I'm sure you noticed this. She does the line. There's like the first realization, and then she has like more. It's really cool. You
Couple
know how
layers.
to do this stuff. I don't know why I'm just more pointing out for people that might watch
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Just a couple layers, huh?
Yeah, then it goes doot doot doot, and it's all really
Deal.
it gets real juicy.
Yeah. So couple. I always use that metaphor. I don't know why. That peeling back of the layers. I like that. I've always liked that metaphor. I don't know why I use it though.
I mean, what an interesting metaphor. Pineapple Princess. One time I ate some pineapple, the skin wasn't completely off it yet. Woo! I had an uncomfortable mouth.
It's so weird. I mean, this morning, one of the first things I did, I got today off, so um, I processed like a bunch of pineapple. I have a dehydrator, and I'm making my wife a bunch of she loves these pineapple chips that I make for her. So I
Oh,
processed a
cool.
ton of pineapple this morning. It's just a weird pineapple-y kind of day. I love it.
I love that, Kevin. I just want to point out, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these before. Um, there's like a, Have you ever seen a pineapple when it blooms?
Oh wow, look at that.
When it finally does its thing. Look at all that beauty.
Look at that.
Well, that's
Wait,
taking me to some weird site, but
so many sides, so many facets, so many different pieces just growing and blossoming out of that pineapple. Look at that.
Oh boy, just gorgeous. Was inside that pineapple the whole time. But, of course, on the surface, tried eating that thing without peeling the skin. Ouch. Yeah,
It seems so much more manageable and doable to care for myself, as she says.
right.
Yep, this is good.
Let's go back to beekeeping girl here. I just want to. She had, for me, it absolutely does. Yeah, yeah. That's gorgeous. That's beautiful beekeeping girl. That's beautiful beekeeping girl. That's right. You'll never get out of your head. Got to go right in there. Might as well let it develop and grow. When we let go of all those things, what we know just gets stronger, better, improves. Any questions for us, Pineapple or Beekeeping Girl? I think those are the two that are still. Whole Point just jumped back on. Everyone follow the Whole Point. That's my buddy Elizabeth Sterling. She does incredible work with people. Man, I'm not newsflash, not into ballet, but she taught me how to do this like a couple different exercises that were just kind of like basic standard warm ups, and I thought I was gonna die. And it was really basic movements. And I thought, yikes, those legs are strong. You know, I like had no idea. That's okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, sounds like part of you wanted to do this work today, and we're happy you came. Take time for yourself. I'm so glad you decided to take time for yourself. Put yourself where you really deserve. Oh, that's cool. I think I. Oh, okay. Go. Thank you guys for your time. I'm trying to use all this. Yeah. Yeah. Let us know what you do.
Yeah, you guys aren't alone. At times it may feel like you are alone, but you're not. Uh, you have friends here.
But you can just take time for yourself like this. It's fun. It's kind of nice to discover these things about ourselves, right? The meaning and the richness is different in that there's variation, but the value is always there, right? You just kind of show up differently, experience things differently. And wherever you go, there you are. You can always explore that. And take that time. Well, I can't wait. This is gonna be fun. So, we got any other questions here? Sounds that's true. I've been putting thought into the last few days, and it's so much easier to process now. There it is. We didn't use that word once, Kevin.
Yep, yep. It shows up.
I
Boy, it
love
shows
it.
up everywhere. Yeah. As you're processing these things, as much as you're putting thought into it, it's okay to put a little feeling into it as well. Just notice, be aware of what you feel.
I love that.
Take your time with it. There's nothing that you have to do. There's no thing that you need to do. Um, but just listen, listening to yourself, noticing what you notice, feel what you feel. Let this all kind of just marinate.
Yeah.
You spent your time running. Let this all just kind of marinate.
And that's solid. That's great. I always like to tell people when they process, just whatever you experience, just honor it. Just be there with it fully. But this isn't something you really need to like. I imagine this is probably not a typical experience you've had. Um, you did a great job. But I would just kind of let this go in the background, get on with it. If you have insights, if you have feelings, like Kevin said, just honor them. That's a part of you. And it's just there to teach you something about all this. And I don't know if it'll be months, weeks, whatever, a couple days. Sometimes it's just quick. The choice is always there, but the completion of the processing, that's where all the real money is.
Mm-hmm.
Those beautiful pineapples, right?
It's going to
All
show up
flowered.
where you least expect it. I mean, it could happen when you're in the shower. It could happen when you're on a run. It could be happening as you're driving down the road or washing the dishes. You never know. And
There
it
it is. Yeah,
doesn't have to be forced.
right.
Doesn't have to be manipulated. But it
Yeah,
can be observed. It can be witnessed. It can be. You can have that awareness of it.
I just love this right here. Gumball says the odd thing about your thoughts is it's all in your head. That's gorgeous. And then Beekeeping Girl said sometimes I feel like I'm giving it all too much. What happens when you think about giving it nothing?
Good question.
Don't do anything.
Where your attention goes, energy flows.
Just be. What happens when you just be Beekeeping Girl? I can't. I'm such a dork. I can't.
It's okay. You can say it. You might as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, what better bee could you keep than that girl there? Be with her. Oh, the hive and the mind. Finally coordinated as one. Being part. Yeah, I know. I know. How could you have trouble with that? Just being, that is. When you've let go of everything. Frustration, guilt, deservedness. The bees go out, they scout new territory. With 80% accuracy, they're able to predict the optimal position to build a new colony. That's not the word they use. I can't think of what it is. Hive. Call it that. A home, right? And they find that new spot. And they all coordinate. Comes back, sends a message. Hey, I think I found it. 80% of the time they're right. It's pretty high. And it is awesome to watch. I know. And what happens when you think about just watching yourself be? Coordinate in just the same way. Scouting new territories, finding the best spot. Communicating with all the different parts of yourself. Watching all that without frustration. What could be a more awesome thing to watch? Some of those bees can make honey. And that's a sweet thing, healthy thing. Bearing it everywhere. Pollinating all the flowers. Just the awesomeness of watching all that. Without judgment. There would be nothing to avoid that. We weren't going to judge it. We're just going to watch it. And just be. Keeping that girl. Oh, it's so fun. I can't. My brain is melting. Oh, no, Kevin. I have 2 sessions today. Wonder how they're going to go.
I think they're going to be fine.
Oh, they're completely tranced out. It's going to be wild.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
What better place to start from?
Yeah, I'm going to come in ready to go. Hey, guys. It's just thinking in these weird ways.
You know, I like that. It's kind of how I feel when I feel without judgment. Judgment is such a muddy, sticky thing, right? It muddies up everything, right? And I wonder how much more freedom we could have in our own personal lives when we kind of suspend that judgment more often.
I do find it interesting, Kevin, that a lot of times the resources or the things people need are metaphorically around them. You know, they're seeking that exact same thing out, but in other areas. The marathon, the this, the that, all those beautiful bees. It's interesting how the unconscious mind just kind of creates that path in front of us. I'm not aware of it half the time. And then it just dawns on me. Wow. I remember before I started my clinic, I came back one summer and I just stared off in the Midwest at some flowers. My wife's family had a beautiful garden. And I could hear the bees. I could see them on the sunflowers. And I could hear the locusts. They were swarming, the cicadas.
Yep.
And it just tranced me out, man. And I was in Boston. You're not even aware of all the noise you hear. You hear so much noise, you know? I would come back to the Midwest. I'd get a headache from just seeing green.
Yeah.
It's like everything's moving so fast. Now it's slow.
Yeah. Sounds like a little fresh air poisoning.
Yeah. Out of all that, though, I made the decision to start the clinic. I remember having this idea, this vision. You could see that beautiful garden developed around me everywhere.
Yeah.
Very organic and natural. To talk about our thing, the metaphor of the trance. That was an interesting summer.
To start that hive and to start creating something sweet, right? Helping people take the sting out of this process.
Right. I forgot to not have an opinion. I forget to not have an opinion. Yeah. Well, how do you feel when you think about not having an opinion? I'm not sure I understand that entirely. That's a beautiful statement, Pineapple Princess.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
Yeah. Just to make sure I understand for you, though, what does it mean to you to not have an opinion about these things? Because well, I gotta shut up. Oh, I don't want to put anybody's words in anybody's mouth, you know. Got it. Yeah, that's what. Okay, so that's an opinion to you. The concern is that if there's an uncomfortable thought or situation, your first thought is that you need a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beekeeping girl, with that, as soon as that uncomfortable thought or situation arises, I want you to think back a few days ago about my story with the cows and the buffalo. And we'll let that one sit.
Right.
Bingo. Good answer. I love that one. Good answer. Good job. Yep. It's a big difference. You just feel and breathe, don't form opinions, and it passes. Interestingly enough, I want you to think about what you just said there. Let that really soak in, let that marinate, because that's good juice right there. And I'd like you to take that and point that at a cigarette craving the next time you notice it, because that same thing, that same resource that you just came up with, which is absolutely beautiful, that also applies with that next craving. If you even have one, maybe you don't. And that's even better. Feel it, breathe, don't form an opinion, and that too shall pass. You don't have to take my word on it though.
Right.
Experiment. Go out there, give it a try. Next time you notice something, give it a try. Don't take my word for it. Prove it to yourself. Get that confirmation for yourself, not because I say it.
I wonder if we can go live from like laptops now. That'd be really cool.
You can with a, what is it called? A stream code, I think it's called. You can.
Aha.
I looked into it a little bit because it would be so much better. Um, I've been doing it on my phone from time to time. I'm using my iPad now, which is a little bit bigger. I just think it'd be so cool to have like the webcam,
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, have a couple extra things going on. But I mean, the iPad's not bad. So, beekeeping girl, you're upset because you bought a pack and it starts over. Okay, well, so you started over. You can start over. That's okay. That's all right. You started over. No harm, no foul. It's at times it could be like an experiment, and it's like you're a scientist, right? And you're looking for feedback. If you notice that you had a craving, you notice that you succumbed to the craving, it is what it is. You don't. There's no need to beat yourself up over it. There's no need for guilt or shame. Those things they're not productive enough to make a change. They serve their own purposes, but they're not that productive for you now. So you got your feedback. So you had a cigarette. Big deal. Doesn't mean you have to light the next one up. Just because you have a pack, just because there's 20 cigarettes in there, doesn't mean you have to have them. Doesn't mean you have to try to get your money's worth out of that pack of cigarettes. They all go up in smoke anyway. You don't have to light the next one. And if perhaps you do, you don't have to light the next one after that.
I'm way too opinionated. Well, what's your opinion about this? idea that you don't have to like the next one.
What's your opinion about being so opinionated?
That's a good question. That's the one.
So what was it that got you through yesterday, beekeeping girl? What was it exactly that got you through yesterday? Maybe. I mean, need is a heavy word. If you want to. You don't have to, but you could. Just note, honestly, just notice when you are judging. Let that awareness be your first little step. Just notice it. You don't have to stop it. You don't have to, judge it. You don't have to judge the judging. You don't have to judge the fact that you did judge. It is what it is. Just notice it. Oh, there's a judgment. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's my opinion about judging. There it is. Oddly enough, that awareness at the forefront, that awareness starts to change how we think about it. It changes how we look at it. It starts to change that perspective about it. Oddly enough, uniquely enough, just that awareness alone without that judgment, it'll start to shift and change. Good. You took that pressure off yourself, right? You had a few cigarettes. You weren't horribly upset about it. It's okay to take that pressure off. We talk about the end goal, this end thing, and we talk about it and hype it up about the freedom and breaking free from the prisons and all this stuff. But this doesn't have to be pressure. We're all friends here. You don't have to have that pressure on yourself, because what do most of us do in pressure? We start to feel anxious, right? We start to feel cornered. We start to feel antsy. We start to make quick judgments and decisions, and then at times they're not all the way thought through or felt through. Sometimes we end up looking back and regretting the things that we've done because we made a choice or decision based out of pressure. What if you were coming from a point of a lot less pressure? Yeah, you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself, right? Yeah. Smoking, it seems very binary, very on or off. You either smoke or you don't smoke. And I'm a big fan of just saying, hey, we're done. No more. It is what it is. We're done with this thing. But if you're going at it alone, and maybe there are some struggles with, what that relationship with that cigarette, what that even means, and you end up having one, maybe you buy that pack. So what? Doesn't mean you have to continue with them. Doesn't mean you have to smoke them all. Doesn't mean you need to go buy another one after that one's all finished. Sometimes changing a relationship with something can be quick and fast. Sometimes changing your relationship with something is a different kind of process. Sometimes it takes a day or two, a couple of days. Maybe it takes a little bit. Maybe as you're processing this, maybe as you're remembering that story of the cow and the buffalo, it all starts to shift and change at a different pace. Yeah, it is easier when we're busy, for sure. We fill our brain, our body with things, right? We, as a waitress, as a bartender, we have a lot of people that we're working with and making sure the drinks and the orders and everything are right. And we're so caught up in the moment, being busy, that there's no time, no space for that cigarette. And I wonder if there's other ways that we could fill our senses with something else. Not as a distraction necessarily, but just filling ourselves with something else. That by doing so, it no longer has room for a cigarette. Take the present moment, for example. The shapes, the colors, the space in which you're sitting in, the sounds, the smells, the tastes. I wonder, by just being more aware of what's happening here and now, if you could fill your senses mindfully of this present moment. And by doing so, maybe there's no more room for that cigarette.
That's beautiful, Kevin. Hey, and it's probably what that pressure you're putting on yourself is trying to do, right? Pressure it right out of there. Beekeeper girl, where do you notice that pressure at the strongest when you're putting it on yourself? I could do like another, I think we could do like 5 or 7 minutes here. You okay with that, Kevin?
Yep. Cool. I had a few phone calls come in. Actually, I had somebody who was
Me too.
had a client book just a few minutes ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is great, man. What a great time of the year. I've just been swarmed, to use the bee expression.
I'll have, I take 2 days off during the week, and
that's cool.
I'll call back clients and I'll call back different people who have, booking a call, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know it was your day off." And like, this is my day off to do that, to have those, conversations and to have those, those bookings. I mean, I love what I do. So, my days off isn't to, relaxing isn't, this is relaxing. This is wonderful. This is the dream right here.
I can't agree with you more, man. Like, I don't know. This stuff's really, it's unbelievable. Oh, here we go. Sometimes I literally feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders, sometimes in my stomach and chest. Do you feel it now when you think about not smoking ever again? What do you feel now with that pressure, thinking about never smoking again? Oh, Pineapple Princess, you might want to, I'm going to be teaching this stuff in March or April. You might be interested in learning it. Totally just thought of that. Stomach and chest. Yeah, what happens is you notice that stomach and chest. Just do me a favor. Just put your attention on that feeling in your stomach and in your chest. Yeah, there you go. Just put your attention on it. Don't try to do anything to it. Don't try to change it. Just fully experience it. That feeling. Just feel it. Mid-abdomen. Coming together. Was in the stomach, was in the chest. Just notice it and feel it. Very uncomfortable. You got that uncomfortable pressure in your mid-abdomen. But what's that uncomfortable pressure have to teach you about judging things, opinions, judging yourself, opinions about yourself, about the difficulty, about buying a pack after you're all done, having a few, not really caring that much about them? What's that uncomfortable feeling have to teach you about all this? It's like the bees flying out, Kevin, and they stuff that goes on in my head. Circus. I don't know. Great. Yeah. And so that feeling of I don't know, is that, what's that like? How do you experience I don't know with all this? Are you noticing that in a spot? Are you just kind of staring off blank? How are you experiencing I don't know? Good. You don't know what it has to teach you about all this. Yet, the unconscious mind is nothing if not deliberate. You don't stub your toe and feel happy, feel cold, feel alone. You stub your toe, feel the warning, you feel pain. What's the most uncomfortable thing about that feeling in your chest? Sorry, your mid-abdomen. Losing track of everything. Yeah. So this pain will stop. Is that what this is trying to teach you? No one's always in fight or flight. When you think about that, beekeeping girl, notice any thoughts, images, if any other feelings come up. What are those? The best are these, when they just,
Yeah.
that's when all the real work happens. And if I do that, things can literally flood. Yeah. Like fight or flight. And if you do that, if you just notice what happens, things can literally flood. Is that what you mean? Well, it makes sense that you often try to avoid that feeling. And I think there was a conversation earlier with Eric about the rain. Yeah. Does it all got to come out sometime? You know, the thing about healing, I think that's often misunderstood. If you cut your hand, you start bleeding. We think we're healing when we see the scab start to form and the blood coagulate. But the mind's trying to heal all the time, the moment you're cut. Healing's already happening. So when you ask yourself where to start, it's a very logical question. What's it like when you think about starting with your mid abdomen now? Yeah, and there's the flood. Do you ever get the sense that all these might be tied together? Or do they really feel like separate things in terms of the pain it's causing you? Mm-hmm. That's that the chest and the stomach, right? So, what happens when you scan your body? What do you notice when you think about not smoking? What do you notice now when you think about not smoking? Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. Boy, oh boy, this is a session I'd rather do over Zoom. This is a perfect metaphor for it trying to come up, you know? I've had people throw up in session. Do you get any comfort knowing that this is something that can come up? It hasn't come out yet. I just, as a practitioner, don't know if this is the best situation for this one. You know what I mean, Kevin?
Yep.
Because this could be an every reaction on the other end. I would want to have visual for that. Yeah.
Noticing that your breathing helps a lot. I want you to really remember this, that breathing does help a lot. And you always have your breath, right? It's always with you. That nice, easy in and out. And just like that, just following that breath. Just kind of notice the chair that you're sitting in. Looking at the screen that you're looking at. Maybe you can notice my funny haircut, and I don't know. But just notice that breathing. Notice that repetition. Maybe even slower now. That's okay. And as you notice that breath, just kind of notice how the body knows how to take care of itself. As you feel that breath going in and out, as you feel the blood pumping in your veins, the body is so wise, so smart that it always takes care of itself.